All right, so we started with the first chapter, first verse, and these are the verse divisions in the chapter, observing the armies from 1 to 26. And the subsections where the first verse, Dhritarashtra's inquiry to Sanjaya, from 2 to 11th verses, Duryodhan's fear and diplomacy. So we've started this section, we've done till the third verse, and we'll try and finish this subsection today. We'll also start the third subsection, blowing of the conch shells and signs of victory of the Pandavas. So first verse we just recited, and this is the translation. We just read the translation also. Dhritarashtra, blind from birth, unfortunately, he was also blind in matters of religion and bereft of spiritual vision. His 99 sons, led by Duryodhan, are also blind in matters of religion. And we had this as homework. Some of you have done it already. If anybody would like to unmute and tell us Dhritarashtra's partial mentality in these 4 points. Anybody can unmute and answer. Go ahead, Istrataji, go ahead.
Mataji, Dhritarashtra desirous that his sons win the battle. He was doubtful of the same. He was not sure if they will be able to win it. And he's fearful that the piousness of the battlefield of Kurukshetra might influence his sons, and they might compromise and give away to the Pandavas. And he's hopeful that that actually happens to the Pandavas, that the piousness of the battlefield of Kurukshetra influences them in a way that they agree to compromise, and they say they don't want anything, and the battle, is not really taking place.
To avoid the bloodshed. Wonderful. Great. We'll have some fill in the blanks in some of the slides, so you can answer. Whoever wants to, you can unmute. Krishna's plan, just as in the paddy field, which is Kshetra, unnecessary weeds are taken out. Similarly, in the religious field, which is Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, in the presence of the father of religion, Krishna unwanted, harmful weeds like. Who were the unwanted weeds which are going to be wiped out?
Kauravas.
Kauravas, yeah. So Dhritarashtra's sons would be wiped out. Second verse we did was, Sanjay said, because Dhritarashtra asked, what did my son and my sons and sons of Pandu do? Now, Sanjay is starting to relate what is happening on Kurukshetra battlefield. He says, O king, after looking over the army gathered by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and began to speak the following words. And we saw the line of command. The commander-in-chief from the Kaurava side is Bhishma Dev. And after that comes Dronacharya. 1.3. My teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. And we saw why he said this. Why didn't he say the name of Drishtadyumna first? We saw all those reasons. Duryodhan was envious, greedy, evil, and had diplomatic skills. Approached Dronacharya because he feared internally seeing which army? Pandava's army. He wanted to remind Drona of his previous enmity with
King Drupad.
Wonderful. Points to Dronacharya his mistake on how he liberally imparted the military secrets to Drupad's son. And what's his name? Drishtadyumna. Perfect. Despite knowing that he was born to kill Dronacharya. Duryodhan is trying to seal the commitment of Lang, his side, by enticing
Dronacharya.
And we did the story of Dronacharya and Drupad, and we compared it with Krishna and Sudama. And we came to these points. If one makes friendship with Krishna, one will never get cheated and will get all help needed. Krishna does not differentiate based on how wealthy or poor one is. He sees the devotion and reciprocates accordingly. We'll begin today's class. We'll go a little bit faster. So this is just some information. It's not there in the Bhagavad Gita, but some information which might be helpful. It's not going to come in your exams or tests or homework. So the armies that fought in Mahabharat war were measured in Akshauhini units, and the ratio was 7 to 11. 7 Akshauhini units on Pandava's side, 11 on the Kauravas side. And how much is in one Akshauhini unit? By calculation, one Akshauhini division contains 1 elephant, 1 chariot, 3 horsemen, and 5 foot soldiers multiplied by a factor of 21,870. So 21,870 elephants, these many chariots, 65,610 horses, and 1,09,350 infantrymen on foot. So in total, there were 18 Akshauhini units, which means the total combined strength of the army on both sides was this. You can imagine how much bloodshed happened on that. All right, so these are vyuhas, which are the formations, battle formations, and vyuha is an arrangement of the army division to attain a specific objective at the end of the day's war. So every day, the commander-in-chief of each army will arrange the army in a specific formations, and these are some of the vyuhas: Chakra view, Mandal view, Conch view, and Ardha Chandra view, like these. These are the vyuhas. Some of the weapons which were used, which were really powerful. Sudarshan Chakra, obviously Krishna's, he did not use it on the battlefield, but these other Vasavi Shakti, Vajra, Narayan, Nastra, Brahmastra, and all these were weapons used, and many more. These are just a few of them. And these are names of the soldiers, the ranks of the soldiers in the battlefield. So the infantrymen were called Padatik, then Ashvarohi were the horsemen, Gaja were soldier on an elephant, Ardharathi, a soldier on a chariot who is considered equal to 1 Gaja. Then Rathi is a warrior who is considered equal to 12 Ardharathis. Atirathi is a warrior who is considered equal to 12 Rathis. And Maharathi is a warrior who is considered equal to 12 Atirathis. So just for your information, the ranks are not just a reflection of skill or mastery of a weapon. It also includes knowledge of battle formations, strategic skill set, tactical intelligence, experience, ability to crack battle traps, and so on. So we'll start with 1.4. Duryodhana is describing the warriors of the opposing army, the Pandavas side. And Prabhupada, we did this before, how Prabhupada, some people say that by mentioning these great fighters, what spiritual progress do we make? Prabhupada used to say that because we are meant to be, people used to say, because we are meant to chant Hare Krishna mantra, so by chanting the names of these great warriors, what will we gain? And Prabhupada used to say it is Krishna Sambandhe. Whenever there is connection with Krishna, that also becomes Krishna. So these warriors, name mentioning, we should not neglect. Krishna wanted to gather all the demoniac power in that battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them. That was his plan. So 1.4, we'll recite it together. Atra Shura Maheshwara Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Vidatascha Drupadascha Maharatha. Quickly, if somebody can unmute and read the translation.
Here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, the great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada.
So now, Duryodhana has started taking names of the warriors on the side of the Pandavas first. He will also take names from his side, but first he's starting with the Pandava side. Because just now he told Dronacharya, just look at the army arranged by your intelligent disciple, Drishtadyumna, and now he's taking the names. So He's taken 5 names here, Bhima and Arjuna, and he's compared 3 other warriors, Yudhana, Virata, and Drupad. And we'll quickly see who these are. Most of us might know, but we'll quickly go through. Duryodhan compares Bhima and Arjuna to 3 other warriors. It's a relative and not absolute comparison. Why? Because nobody can equal to them in terms of archery and mace fighting, because they were the best. And these are the names of the 3 other warriors. Yuyudhana is also called Satyaki. His greatest feat was on the 14th day when he assisted Arjuna, who had penetrated into the Kauravas' military formations in order to reach Jayadratha and avenge his son Abhimanyu's death. So at that time, Yuyudhana or Satyaki had helped Arjuna penetrate the Kauravas' military formation. Then there is Virat. We all know who Virata was. Virata was the king of Matsya kingdom, in whose court the Pandavas spent their 13th year in concealment during their exile. Agyatwas, if you remember, that was spent in Virata's kingdom. He felt obliged to Arjuna for saving his kingdom and brought his huge army to fight against the Kauravas. He was the commander-in-chief of one Akshauhini Sena, and that he brought with him. Then there was Drupad, and we learned who Drupad was. He fought heroically. Drupad was the king of Panchal and the father of Draupadi, Drishtadumna, and Shikandi also. This battle turned out to be both Virata's and Drupad's last battle. They were killed by. And while in exile, this is also just some information for you. There's some interesting information how they concealed themselves. So Yudhishthir became Kanka. His name was Kanka for that 1 year that they were in Virata's kingdom in concealment. And then Bhima was Vallabha. Arjuna was a eunuch, and his name was Brihanala. And Nakula was the charioteer, and his name was Granthik. And Sahadev was a cowherd, and his name was Tantipal. And Draupadi was Sairandri. He was the female artisan. Okay, we'll keep going. 1.5, Duryodhan names more warriors. Drishtaketuschekidana, Kashirajascha Viryavan, Urujit Kunti Bhojascha, Shebascha Narapungavaha. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Urujit, Kunti Bhoj, and Shebda. And let's look at who all of these were. Drishtaketu was son of Shishupal, ally of Pandavas. Chekitana was archer of the Vrishni dynasty. In combat with Kripacharya, they both fainted. Dronacharya defeated him, but Duryodhan killed him. This is Chekitana. Kashiraj was the king of Kashi, powerful ruler, father of Ambika and Ambalika. Purujit was a great king, son of Kunti Bhoj, brother of Kunti and maternal uncle of the Pandavas. And there was Kunti Bhoj from the Bhoja dynasty ruling the Kunti kingdom, hence known as Kunti Bhoj. Pritha was the daughter of King Shurasena, father of Vasudeva, but she was adopted by Kunti Bhoj since he had no children. So I'll be sharing the whole recording with you. If you want to go back and look at these details, you can. And like I said, these names we don't have to memorize. We don't have these, it will not come in the test, but just for your information, a little bit, who were they? I've put it down in the slide. Shaibya, father-in-law of Yudhishthir. Devaki, his daughter, was married to Yudhishthir. So that's why all of these were fighting for the Pandavas. Also, these names will never ever come in the Bhagavad Gita again. This is the only time these names come of these warriors. Duryodhan names more warriors. 1.6 recited. Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Uttamojascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharathaha. Somebody can read the translation.
There are the mighty Manu, the very powerful Uttama Uja, the son of Sobhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
For more information, Yudhamanyu and Uttamaja, they are princes of Panchal, Abhimanyu, his son of Subhadra, sons of Draupadi, and their names are Prativindya, Sutasoma, Shutakarma, Satanika, Shutasena, and these are all from the five Pandavas, the five sons. And when it is said Cha, when Duryodhan says Cha, that means for Ghatotkacha, son of Bhima and Hidimba. Now Duryodhan will describe warriors from his side. 1.7 अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्य बोधादुजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संयाहर्तं ब्रवीमि ते. Somebody read the translation.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmas, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military forces.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, he's talking to Dronacharya. He's calling him Dvijottamaha. And we'll look at the meaning of Dvijottama. Let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. So that his own, so he's naming all these great warriors from the Pandava side. He does not also want to discourage his own warriors from his side. So he's taking names now from the side of his own side to encourage his own warriors. So he says, "Oh, best of the Brahmanas, Vijottama." And first he says Nibodha, which is take note. Oh, best of the Brahmanas, please take note. Mama Sanyasa. So Mama Sanya, my army. Now he's differentiating Dronacharya also. You're also part of my army. See how diplomatic he is. When he says Dvijottama, that means also sarcastically. So Dvija Uttama is first meaning is best of the twice born. Dvija means twice, right? Two. Dvij. So Dvijottama, best of the twice born. You're the Brahmana who's the best of all the Brahmanas. But another name for Dvijottama, another name for teeth is Dvijottama because they're also born twice. First the teeth go away and then another set of teeth come. That's why the name of for the teeth is also Dvijottama. So sarcastically he's saying that you are a Brahmana. Brahmanas are fond of eating. And you've been eating from my side, my palace, but still your heart is with the Pandavas. So that is his, inner sarcastic meaning when he says Vijottamam. These are commentaries given by our acharyas just to, bring in some information there. So let's see what names he takes. So his warriors don't get scared and run on the other side. He starts to speak about the leading captains on his side. And 1.8, we'll recite it. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samatinjayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Somadiptish Tathaivacha. Somebody can read the translation.
There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, and the son of Somdatta, called Bhuriswara, who are always victorious in battle.
So these are the warriors from the side of Duryodhan or the Kauravas, Bhavan, which is you. So he's taking his name first, Dronacharya's name, thinking that he's a Brahmana, also to keep him motivated to fight for him. Later on, we'll see Arjuna speaks Bhishma's name first when he sees the army across. And Yudhishthir went to first touch Bhishmadev's feet and then go to Dronacharya. So why first Bhishmadev? And here we see why Duryodhan is taking name of Dronacharya first. Because see, for him, the inspiration to fight is the upmost, like the topmost. His fear is that because Bhishmadev and Dronacharya both have this love and emotional bonding with the Pandavas, especially Arjuna. He wants to make sure that they are inspired to fight against them. that in Hindi we say koi kam tarta nahi kare while fighting. They don't compromise while fighting with them because they have so much love for the Pandavas. So, but he knows that Bhishma Dev, we've done this in our last class, he is bound by a vow that he will always take the side of the king, whoever the king is, at that time. So Bhishma Dev, from his side, he wasn't so worried. He was more worried from the side of Dronacharya. So that's why he's taking Dronacharya's name, is that you are there in this army. Also, why does Arjuna and Yudhishthir take the name of Bhishma Dev? Sorry, Arjuna takes the name of Bhishma Dev first, and Yudhishthir touches Bhishma Dev's feet first, because he's not just the older one, older than Dronacharya, he's also one of the Mahajans. He's a great devotee of Krishna also. So in that sense, he should have, Duryodhan should have also taken the name of Bhishma. But because he doesn't have that intelligence, that spiritual intelligence also he does not have, that's why he's taking Dronacharya's name. Bhishma, one of the 12 Mahajans fighting, as a service to Krishna, he also did not want to fight, but because of reciprocation, Krishna wanted him to fight from the side of the Kauravas, just to show the world that if you're, even if you have the, if you're most powerful and you have the ultimate skill set, still, if you are not on the side of Dharma, then you will perish. He was the greatest among great warriors. Karna, we all know him, came on the battlefield on the 11th day after Bhishma Dev fell. Parshuram was his teacher. Also, Bhishma Dev's teacher was also Parshuram. Both of their gurus were Parshuram. He's the oldest son of Kunti Devi, sorry. Kripacharya, first teacher of the Pandavas and Kauravas, one of the 11 survivors, brother-in-law of Dronacharya. His sister Kripi was married to Dronacharya. Ashwatthama is Dronacharya's son, very much loved by his father. Rumor of his death caused his father's death. Vikarna, one only brother of Duryodhan, who spoke against Draupadi's disrobing of clothes to make sure he stays on his side. Duryodhan takes his name. So although Vikarna wasn't that great of a warrior, still Duryodhan takes Vikarna's name just to make sure that he doesn't go to the other side, because he was the one who had spoken against Draupadi's disrobing. Then there is Somadatti, which is son of Somadatta, called Bhurishrava. So there are 11 survivors after this battle happened. The 5 Pandavas, Krishna, obviously, Satyaki, Ashwatthama, Kripacharya, Yuyutsu, and Kritavarma. These were the only survivors. Then 1.9. Many powerful warriors ready to lay down their lives for me. This is what Duryodhana is going to say. Anyacha bhava Mahavashura madarte tyatva jivitaha nana shastra praharanaha sarve yuddha visharadaha. You can read the translation.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
So now, to also encourage other warriors whose names he has not taken, he wants to just say there are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and they have military science. So Duryodhan says, Madarthe Tattva Jivita, for my cause they can lay down their lives. And later, in the 32nd verse, we'll see Arjun will say, Yesha Marte. He will say, we desire this kingdom for all of them. If they die, what will we do? So this shows their consciousness. Both of them have opposite consciousness. Duryodhan is very proudly saying they all are ready to lay down their lives for me. And his only motive is to get this kingdom. Whoever dies, he doesn't care. Let them all die, but I need my kingdom. On the other side, when we see how Arjun gets bewildered after seeing the army on the other side, right now, Duryodhan sees the army on the other side and he's taking names of his own warriors. But we'll see when Arjun sees the warriors, when he observes the warriors on the other side, he becomes so compassionate and he's bewildered. He does not want to fight. He says, I don't want them to fight. Yesha Marte, we desire this kingdom for them. If they're not there, how will we enjoy this? We'll look at that. Just a little comparison over here when Duryodhan says, Yaktva Jivitam, mother, Yaktva Jivitam. Duryodhan's usage of words due to envy and fear. So 1.10, let's look at what he says. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhi rakshitam paryaptam tvi idam nitesham balam bhimabhi rakshitam. Somebody read the translation.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
So we see here he says, our strength is immeasurable because he feels Bhishma Dev is on my side. And Bhishma Dev, we all know, he had the boon of dying whenever he wanted. So for him, for Duryodhan, he's one of the strong, and he also had the skill set. So the strongest and greatest warriors is on my side. Duryodhan was so confident of his own victory. So he says, our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Now he's taking the name of Bhima again and again. Before also he compared three other warriors to Bhima and Arjuna, right? Here, who is the commander-in-chief from the side of the Pandavas? Is it Bhima?
It's
We've done
Yudhishthir.
this before. Who is it?
Yudhishthir.
Yudhishthir is the king.
Drishtadyumna.
Drishtadyumna.
was the commander.
Remember Drishtadyumna, he's the one who's arranged the military formation. He's the commander. But here he's taking the name of Bhima. Why? Because Bhima is the one he is so envious of and scared of, because Bhima had taken a vow to kill Duryodhana. So in his childhood also, he had tried to kill him because of his envy. He had tried to kill Bhima. And what happened to Bhima? He got the strength of 10,000 elephants just by the poison that he had given and boon that was given by the mercy of Krishna. He got more strength. So usage of word by Duryodhan shows his pure envy and hatred towards Bhima. He has lost all intelligence and is taking Bhima's name again and again. 1.4 also he had taken. Bhima was very powerful, being the son of Vayudev. He was the same age as Duryodhan, and he had the same weapon also, the mace or the gadam, which what? So let's keep going. 1.11. This is the last verse that Duryodhan will speak, and after this, we'll see how the Bhagavad Gita will start when the introduction of Krishna will be there. Let's recite this verse. Anneshu sa sarveshu yatha bhagan avastita bhishmam eva birakshantu bhavantaha sarva eva hi. Anybody can recite? Read the translation.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
Thank you. So Anneshu is others. Cha sarveshu yatha bhagam vastita. So he's saying that all of you now should give full support to who? Grandfather Bhishma. Although he had full confidence, but still Bhishma Dev was getting older. So he wanted, and also he didn't want the opposing army to penetrate and hurt Bhishma Dev in any way, because he had most confidence in Bhishma Dev. So he wanted everyone to give full support to Bhishma Dev so that he's protected. He says, all of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. So he's also including all the other warriors. You all are so important. You all have important positions, and you have to take care that Bhishma Dev is not hurt. So he's very shrewd. He's making sure everybody is motivated, not just the warriors' names that he has taken. Let's keep going. Bhishma Dev, he's a loving devotee of Krishna, and fighting this war is an inner reciprocation with Krishna. And we had discussed the reason why. In this word jugglery, this is really important. In this word jugglery and trying to impress people, Duryodhan he's taken so many names, right? But he forgets the most important person, and neglecting Krishna is his fundamental blunder. So he has forgotten to take the name of Krishna because for him, he is like a non-entity over here on the battlefield because Krishna had said he will not fight. Either you take my Narayani Sena or you take me. If you take me, I will not fight at all. So for Duryodhan, he is like a military combatant non-entity. But in material martial terms, Duryodhan takes Krishna to be combatant non-entity. In fact, Krishna is the supreme entity. And he's forgotten to take his name, which will be like a blunder for him. For us, we take Krishna's names first. This is a short video on how when we do Darshanarti in our temples, this is the bhajan that is sung. Govinda Madi Purusham. We'll see a little bit of this just to make sure because we've heard so many names, we didn't hear Krishna's name. We just hear this quick clip.
So you think you know Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got Shake.
He got Krishna, although Duryodhan didn't. Okay, we'll move to our next slide. Next verse 1.12. Bhishmadev blows his conch shell very loudly. So imagine Duryodhan is still speaking, right? He hasn't ended. He hasn't said, okay, now I'm ending, the war is going to begin. He doesn't bring any closing note to his conversation with Dronacharya. But he's speaking, right? He just finished a sentence, and as soon as he does, Bhishmadev blows his conch shell. So it's like he's interrupting, actually, their conversation, and his conversation in the sense it's only Duryodhan speaking. From one side, there's a conversation. And Bhishmadev interrupted that and he blows his big, huge, beautiful conch shell. Tasya Sanjayanen Harsham Kuru Vridha Pitamaha Simhanadam Vinatyochai Shankam Dadmo Pratapavan. Let's have somebody read the translation.
Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty,
The grandfather of the fighter.
Kuru dynasty. Just a
It's
second.
not clear.
Yeah.
The grandfather.
The grandfather of the fighters blew his conch shell very loudly, like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy.
Perfect. Thank you. So Bhishma indicates the following 5 things to Duryodhan by blowing his conch shell. Very important. You can make a note of these, or maybe later when you're watching the recording. Why did Bhishma Dev blow the conch shell? He blew it out of natural compassion for his grandson, Duryodhan. He also has compassion for Duryodhan, and he blows it for him to cheer the fearful heart of Duryodhan, befitting his position as a lion, because the sound was like a lion, to assure that no pains will be spared in his duty to fight. So just to ensure that, okay, I'm inspiring you, look at how inspired also I am to fight this war. That's why he blew the conch shell. Indirectly, by the symbolism of conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson that he had no chance of victory because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. So conch shell is the sign of Vishnu, right, or Krishna. So I'm blowing this conch shell to indicate to you that whoever sign this is, which is a conch shell of Vishnu, he's on the other side. So there's no chance for you to win this war. So Bhishma could see the diplomatic game that Duryodhan was trying to play with everyone. So he interrupted the conversation between Duryodhan and Drona by blowing the conch shell. Duryodhan also did not feel bad that he was interrupted, as he felt all his efforts to encourage Bhishma and others were fructifying. He was overwhelmed to see Bhishma going ahead and starting the war with a loud blowing of the conch shell. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. 1.13. Tata shankasha bheryasya pandavana kagomukha sahasevabhya hanyanta sashabhastumulo bhavat. Somebody read the translation, please.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded. The combined sound was tumultuous.
Yeah, so soon after Bhishma Dev blew his conch shell, so many other conch shells started blowing, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. So warriors in those days would not be scared of death while they enter the war. It was a time for celebration, as they would die fighting for virtue and attain heavenly plans. This is a point that Krishna will also bring later on, that if a soldier or Kshatriya fights on the battlefield, he will attain the heavenly path, because he is doing his duty as a Kshatriya of fighting. Everyone was waiting for Bhishma to blow the conch, and everyone immediately followed the sound with all musical instruments. It is the depiction of the culture in which the war was fought in a sporting spirit in olden times. Everyone considered honor more important than their life. So they were waiting to exhibit their skills in the war field. There are rituals which stimulate the mood of the event, and everyone was performing their rituals to encourage everyone for the war. We should understand the purpose behind rituals, as that way we will understand their contribution. So one might think, why are these points here? One might think that there's going to be so much bloodshed. Why are they playing these musical instruments as if it's some kind of, cultural event? Like, why are they so happy? And this is the reason, because one, they will attain heavenly planets, because they're even if they die on the battlefield, because they're doing their duty of fighting as Kshatriyas. Second is, it was a cultural depiction. They all wanted to also encourage each other by playing these musical instruments and all these conch shells and trumpets. And then it was an honor for them, and they also wanted to, all their life, they're preparing, right? They're preparing to fight. Every day there is a practice for them, how to hold the weapons and how to, all these various skills that they're learning. And this is their final exam on the battlefield, how to show all those skills. That's the reason they're all very excited before the war, to get into the war. Lord Krishna's grand entry, this is 1.14 in the Bhagavad Gita. Tata shveter hayer yukte mahatis syandane stito madhavaha pandavaschaiva divyo shanko pradatmatu. Have somebody read the translation?
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
So beautifully, the entry of Krishna and Arjuna in 1.14, where they also blew their conch shells, and it is said that their conch shells were divine. Divyo. Divyo is plural of divya. So both the conch shells are transcendental and divine. So Krishna and Arjuna blowing transcendental conch shells. Krishna and Arjuna's conch shells are described as transcendental. Krishna's name is over here Madhava, because he's the husband of goddess of fortune. And this also denotes that wherever Krishna is, or Vishnu is, the goddess of fortune will be there. That is also one of the points where it shows that victory for the Pandavas is assured, because goddess of fortune is on their side along with Krishna. Chariot given by Agni, capable of conquering all the three worlds. So this is also one sign of victory, the chariot, which was given by Agni. Blowing of the conch shells on the side of the Pandavas. So Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayah Ondram Dadma Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vikodaraha. Have somebody read the translation?
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and the performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Houndra. Thank you.
So, thank you. So we see how we are all living entities, part and parcels of Krishna. He's called Rishikesha over here in this verse. And Baldev Vidyabhushan says the word Rishikesha, master of the senses, used in describing the Lord, indicates that the Lord would help this army. He would help by directing their senses skillfully. So that's why the name Rishikesha is used in this verse. 1.16 to 18. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakula Sahadevasha Sugosha Mani Pushpako Ashascha Parameshwasa Sikhandi Cha Maharatha Drishtadimno Viratasha Satyakish Cha Parajitaha Drupado Dropadeyasha Sarvesha Prithvi Saubhadrasha Mahabahu Shankhan Dadmo Pratak Pratak. Translation: King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Mani Pushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter, Shikandi, Drishtadimna, Virat, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, and the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. The names of 6 conch shells are mentioned, and others are also said that they all blew their conch shells, but names of these 6 are mentioned. First is Krishna, Panchajanya, Arjun's conch shell was Devadatta, Yudhishthir's was Ananta Vijaya, Bhima's was Pondra, Nakula was Sagosha, And Sahadev's conch shell was called Mani Pushpaka. So all of them had names, and this is very special. None of the other conch shells had names. These had names, noting how special they were, and they were all divine and transcendent. Blowing became uproarious, shattered the hearts of sons of Dhritarashtra. 19, we'll just do 2 more verses. Sagosho Dhritarashtranam Hridyani Vedarayat Nabasha Prithvim Chaiva Tumalo Abdhanunadayan. So Kauravas, have somebody read the translation. It's not here. 1.19, we can read from the book.
The blowing of these different conches became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
So very interestingly, when the conch shells on the Pandava side blew, it shattered the hearts of the Kauravas, Duryodhana and the Kauravas. Now, when the conch shells from the side of the Kauravas had blown, it did not shatter the hearts of the Pandavas. So there is a reason why, because who was with them? Who was with the Pandavas? There was one supreme entity, Krishna, with the Pandavas. That's why they were not fearful. It did not shatter their hearts. It is like if there's a fearful situation, for example, right? There's a war, it is a fearful situation. There'll be so much bloodshed, killing, right? So we take example from this material world. Just imagine you're walking on a road and it's very dark, middle of the night, and you're walking by yourself alone. And there is a thief who comes right in front of you. And he's holding a dagger in his hand, and he's right in front of you, and he wants you to give all your jewelry, whatever. He might also kill you. So it is such a fearful situation. You don't see anybody around who might help you. And suddenly you see a cop or a policeman has seen this, and he is right behind the thief, and he has a gun pointed towards the thief. Now, the situation hasn't changed. The thief is still there, right? But you have become fearless because there is somebody who you can see is there to protect you. So same situation over here on the battlefield. We'll see how Arjun will get bewildered. He will be fearful. He does not want to fight, and he does not want to kill his relatives and friends. But then with Krishna's presence and his beautiful words, Bhagavad Gita, and his instructions, he becomes fearless. So situation hasn't changed. In the end also, it's the same warriors who he has to fight with, but he becomes fearless in the end. So presence of Krishna makes our life fearless. Kauravas or Duryodhan warriors blew their conch shells that did not shatter Pandavas' hearts due to confidence in Lord Krishna. One who's taking shelter of the Lord has nothing to fear. Kauravas' hearts shattered due to fear and no shelter of the Lord. These are signs of. So one who takes shelter of Krishna has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. This is what Prabhupada says in the purport. And we do the story of Akshay Patra quickly. I would want somebody who knows this story because I have pictures. You can relate the story. It's very simple. Who knows the story? So we'll start from Yudhishthir when they were in the forest. And then we start from here. He's praying to Surya Dev, Yudhishthir Maharaj. Vishal Prabhu, you know the story? Let's hear it from you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I think I'm able to remember this one because while they were in exile, at that time, I believe either it's a Surya Dev or Agni Dev, one of them actually gave them this uh, like a vessel
I
in which
started the story
Draupadi
by
used.
saying Yudhishthir Maharaj is praying to Surya Dev. So that is what it is, Surya Dev.
Okay, then I think I don't know the complete story.
You don't know the complete story? You started off well.
Okay, so I think there was a vessel which was given either I think from Suryadev to Draupadi to prepare the food in that, and
Actually given
it was
to,
like
actually, so here we see Yudhishthir Maharaj praying to Suryadev, asking for help, and he gave it to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj gave it to Draupadi. Please go ahead.
Okay. So in this, like it was like that in the evening, so they could cook any amount of food in this vessel, and by the end of the day, after washing this vessel, when Ropi used to just keep the vessel upside down. After that, you will not be able to cook the food in that for the day after that. It was
Okay,
like
so
this.
let's bring in some points over here. Cook any amount of food. She would cook however much would fill in the vessel, but then once she's distributing, it doesn't end. However many devotees or whoever many used to come, sages used to come, they used to feed from that vessel, and it never ended. But when Draupadi ate from that vessel, in the end, then it would finish. Then there would be no more to distribute to anybody. Okay, yeah. And then they'll keep it after distributing, and she would eat, and then they'll keep it. And there's this scene from the palace where Duryodhan is welcoming Durvasa Muni.
Yes, so there was like when Duryodhana was welcoming the Rasa Muni, and he was actually just he was treating them, and after by the end, while the Rasa Muni was about to leave, so he actually requested the Rasa Muni to meet Pandavas also while he's going back. It was he actually knew at that time by the time the Rasa Muni would reach Pandavas, by that time Draupadi would have actually uh, finished eating, and they will not be able to serve all like Durvasa Muni and his. I think he was having more than 10,000 disciples along with him. So that's why. So by the time when Durvasa Muni reached there, and he asked all the Pandavas, Yudhishthira, that to feed him as well as his 10,000 disciples. So the Yudhishthira knew that this is actually something will not be possible at this point of time because Draupadi has already eaten the food, and for the day they will not be able to prepare more food. So, but anyhow, the Yudhishthira asked Durvasa Muni to take bath first, and by the time they are back, so he thought that he'll try to arrange something, but somehow at that point of time it was actually not possible. So somehow Draupadi then prayed to Krishna, and Krishna appeared, and Krishna, and even Krishna came to Draupadi and asked that he is actually also hungry and he wants food. But Draupadi said there is nothing left. So, but Krishna insisted to just check in the vessel in case if there is something left. So there are in some scriptures mentioned it's a kind of some spinach is left or a rice. There was a grain of rice was left in that vessel. So uh, Krishna just picked up the grain of rice and ate it. So actually, then after that, we can see that all the rishis felt that they have already eaten something. They're already full, their stomachs are already full, and they don't have even they can't eat anything else. They can't even just eat a grain, just one grain after. So what it's somehow what the learning I would say from this is that first we actually have to satisfy Krishna. So when the Krishna is actually satisfied, everybody else gets satisfied.
Yeah, wonderful. They are
So-
worried that, yeah, yes. So go ahead.
So this is, this is something like, in the end, that what I mentioned, like when Krishna is actually satisfied, it's actually the first when Draupadi has actually gave that grain to Krishna, that she actually asked Krishna that why don't we eat half of it, the remaining half of the grain, everybody else on the planet. So I remember this. It was something like that.
Wonderful. So in the end, Pandavas are worried that the Rasa Muni will come and we don't have anything. And Krishna said
Yeah.
that he will not come now because he's
I think
already.
the Yudhishthira also asked somebody, either Bhima or Nakula, to just go and change the Durvasa Muni and disciples are. But when they went to see where if they are actually coming for the coming or not, but somehow they were already left. They already fled
They
from there.
already. Yeah, and Durvasa Muni said this to his disciples that if we still remain here and we go there first, if we go there and we don't eat, it is going to be so disrespectful because they must have prepared so much for us. So we better leave this place. So that's why they left. And Krishna told them they are not going to come now. So no matter how your enemies.
Also,
There was one
I
more
would like
angle to it.
to point that
Yes.
Duryodhana sent purposely Durvasa Muni to Pandavas, knowing that they will not have anything and he will curse them in
Yes.
Yeah.
retaliation.
Yeah. Yeah. He was always so
There is
envious and
something
he
more to it.
always. Yes.
Yeah, there was something more to it, if I'm not mistaken. Even if we say, even like the Vasamuni actually fled from there because he knew that if they will not eat, even Yudhishthira was a kind of a Raj Rishi who actually had the power even to curse Durvasa also in case if they don't accept food from them.
So that's why he was worried and he left.
Yeah, so I think this is something which I heard in one of the lectures actually.
And Harini Mataji also had something to add.
Mati, I've heard that Durvasa Muni is very known for his short temper. So that is also why King Yudhishthira did not want to deny in welcoming and just getting a chance to host them. That's what I was going to say. He didn't want to be cursed.
Yeah. No matter how your enemies gather against you, if Krishna is on your side, you have nothing to fear. And that is what the context was when we did the story. We'll keep going. We'll do one more verse, 1.20. Atha vyavasthitan drishtva धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजा प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवा ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् idam aha mahipate. Will you read the translation?
At the time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
So at that time, Arjuna, son of Pandu, seated on his chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman. This Kapi Dwaja, it says, right? Kapi Dwaja. Kapi is a monkey and Dwaja is flag. At that time, all the chariots, if you can see in the picture, they all had their own flags so that from the opposing army, anybody can see whose flag it is and who's on the chariot. Everybody had flags, and Arjuna's chariot had this special flag with Hanuman on it. So it's not just a picture of Hanumanji, it is, or a monkey, it is actually Hanumanji who was present on his flag. So this happened way before the war started, where Bhima had gone up to the mountains, and that time he met Hanumanji. And Hanumanji had disguised, and we all know the story, what happened, but he, in the end, Bhima told Hanumanji that there is a war that's going to happen. And like you had helped in the war in Ramayana with Lord Ram, can you please also be present in this war? So Hanumanji had told him, yes, I'll be there. I'll be on the flag of Arjuna. So I'll be personally present. And it is said that when the war was happening, Arjun's chariot, wherever it went, Hanumanji used to scream and screech so loudly that opposing side, all the soldiers and people on the opposing side, they fled, and some also fainted because of that loud noise that Hanumanji used to make. So Arjun, it is said that he's ready to fight. He took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrow. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. So similar thing happened here also on this side, the other side. Now the camera has we when we speak the Bhagavad Gita, we also speak from different angles. First, the camera was in the palace where Dhritarashtra was speaking to Sanjaya, and Sanjaya was speaking to the Dhritarashtra, so showing what is happening on the battlefield. The camera moved to Duryodhana and Dronacharya, and now the camera has moved towards Arjun and his chariot. So a little far distant, like a zoom out, and Arjun's chariot is shown with the flag on top. And he is then speaking to Lord Krishna after seeing the military array of the Kauravas. Arjun is speaking to Krishna. And on the other hand, what happened after seeing the military arrangement of the Pandavas? Duryodhan went to his teacher and he also spoke those words. And here Arjun will now speak. From next verse onwards, we'll see what Arjun speaks to Krishna. So here we see Arjun's flag on the chariot has emblem of Hanuman, Kapidwaja, which is also a sign of victory, because we see how Hanuman had helped Lord Ram win against Ravana. Lord Krishna is Ram himself. And here also Hanuman is present, be there, supporting the army. Also, Lord Krishna is personally present as Rishikesha to direct his. So these are the signs of victory for the Pandavas. One of the questions that might come for your tests. Sorry. If somebody can read these out.
Signs of victory for Pandavas. Krishna's personal presence confirms victory. Supreme Personality of Godhead is the charioteer, Madhava. Krishna as Rishikesha directly controls the senses of a pure devotee. Second, Goddess of Fortune. Whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the Goddess of Fortune is also there. She never leaves without her husband. Therefore, all fortune is guaranteed. Third, venue. Kurukshetra is a holy place, effect of holy place on the war. Four, Hanumanji on Arjuna's flag. Hanumanji also helped Lord Rama in gaining victory. Fifth, symbol of Lord Vishnu. Conch shell is a symbol of Lord Vishnu. Sixth, transcendental conch shells. Krishna and Arjuna's conch shells mentioned as Divya, transcendental. Seventh, Bhishma's conch shell to pacify Duryodhana. Eighth, Agnideva's chariot given to Arjuna, capable of conquering all directions. Ninth, shattering of hearts.